Okay, wonderful. All right, guys, let's get going here then. So welcome, everybody, to the Law of Attraction Roundtable call. We're doing these, so we've scaled back from weekly to once a month at this point, at least during the holidays. We may pick them back up a little more frequently, depending on interest at the beginning of the year. So my name is Kevin Young. My wife Suzanne and I are facilitating. She's in the other window there. So our company is Personal Success Programs. We host webinars and workshops and coaching programs, all based on Law of Attraction foundations, health, relationships, money, business, all that kind of stuff, ways to attract more of it into your lives. Just outside of Michigan, and we host these free calls as a way to build a global community of naturally occurring Law of Attraction practitioners, and we're glad you're part of our community here. So just relax, get comfortable. Nothing serious is going on here. If you want to participate, this is an open forum. We'll have a little presentation here, 10-minute discussion, but after that, this is open forum. So we really want you guys to participate and get involved as much as you'd like to, because that's where we learn. We learn as much from you as you learn from us. So let's get kicked off here. So our subject for today is I keep what I have by giving it away. So we're also going to talk about the election results a bit, because there's a lot of energy around that still floating around, and we want you guys to have a good feeling about what's been going on here, because it really is a good thing here that's going on, even though in some ways it doesn't exactly feel like it. Hang on a second here. So we'll come back around to that in just a second. So I had this idea a long time ago, the I keep what I have by giving away concept. I heard it on an interview by a guy named Mark Katz, who was the owner of the Katz Deli in Austin, Texas. He was being interviewed on Small Business School, which is a TV program at the time. And it really made me curious what it meant, because that was back in the 90s and I really didn't know anything about the Law of Attraction. So the idea is that the giving, I keep what I have by giving it away, is an energy exchange concept, Law of Attraction, energy exchange. So what we're doing is we're actually giving away the illusion of control and scarcity, the idea that we have to kind of cling to things and make things happen or hang on to what we have so that we don't lose it or figure it out. All of those things have a low vibration, because they're not actually how the Law of Attraction works. So when you can get the idea that as you're in the flow of things flowing out, you're giving things away, you're open with your time, you're open with your money, your resources, and you're not hanging on to that, then what's going out has to come back in to replenish you. It's just that's part of the cycle. Now, of course, we have to be open to receiving also, receiving the energy, receiving the money, and we can have blocks there. But once we get that opened up, then the abundance has to flow through. And the more aligned that we get, then the more things will come to us, because we're a valve and we're opening the valve up. And that's about being at the top of the emotional scale, which I think most of you on the call are familiar with. If you're not, get the book Asking It Is Given by Jerry and Esther Hicks. And there's a scale of 22 emotions in there. We actually do have that handy, I think. You know what? That might be a little bit more than I can do right now. So we'll hang on with that. I'm still getting used to screen sharing with this new Zoom software that we're using, and I don't want to mess up the recording. So it's really all about building a trust in the process, that there is this Law of Attraction, which is simply attracting to us things which match what we've been vibrating or emanating or thinking about all at the same time. And that we do have a guidance system that when we get into harmony with ourselves, our own guidance, and we get into a good feeling place, and that has to come back to us. It's a given in the universe. Everything is attractive. There's nothing that is random. There's nothing that's coincidental. Everything moves through the attractive process. And all your needs are being met all the time, but we're the ones who get in the way of that by this clinginess. So keeping what you have by giving it away is detachment from outcome, or detachment from the process. So in my coaching practice, for instance, I've learned to trust my own guidance system more and more, by doing this process, so I have to intentionally let go of the expectations that I have about a client having a specific outcome, because that's up to them to decide, not me. I have to let go of my need for them to have learned some specific thing that I think they need to learn. I have to let go of my need to solve their problems, because I can't solve other people's problems. I can help them solve their own problems. Or my need for it to be a quote perfect coaching session, because then that's about me. It's not about the client. So I have to let go of all my needs to control. And that's when the guidance channel opens up. I get the incredible questions to ask at exactly the right time. Clients have big breakthroughs oftentimes when I'm in that state. When I'm not and I feel shut down because I'm too in my head and too in control, then nothing can happen. So that's kind of the process in general. It's about allowing and learning to trust. There's another part of that that I learned pretty recently, actually, because I'm a very kind of in my head kind of guy. You know, I was brought up in a thinking environment, scientific, engineering, computers, and that kind of thing. And I shut down the emotional guidance, which is the key that makes this whole thing work. And by doing that, then I got off track. So what I am learning to do, can't say I've mastered it yet, is that when I start to get too much in my head and the fear energy starts to show up, that's a sign that I'm not fully connected to my source, to the broader intelligence, which can guide me to whatever I want. And you do that by moving from your head down into your heart space. Now, the heart space here is kind of a cliche in some ways, feel from your heart, act from your heart, but there's really science behind it. There is a solar plexus region of nerve cluster of brain cells that are right behind the heart area and the stomach, and that's where the emotions are felt, and that's where the sensor is for your guidance. And I learned to numb that because it was very painful. My upbringing, I had a lot of negative energy in the environment that I was raised in, and I didn't know I was the one creating the negative energy. And so I numbed that area so I wouldn't feel it. I still attracted negative stuff. So by learning to retune into that and use that as a second brain, literally, you can move, and I picture as kind of golden light of my own consciousness, that when I get too much in my head and I can actually feel the thoughts banging around there, just take a minute, take a breath, just kind of stop the thoughts, and then I move that golden orb of light of consciousness down into my heart center. Just take a second and do that right now. Just kind of breathe out and feel that kind of moving down into your heart space. And just feel the consciousness in your whole body now. Feel the awareness that you have that's there, that now is broader. You can feel it in your whole body, not even just your solar plexus, but that's where the core guidance is. So the solar plexus is why we say that we have a gut feel for something. We don't know why logically, but we have a gut feel. It's because you have broader intelligence giving you guidance through there. There's no filter on the gut. There's no filter on the solar plexus. It's wide open. Where the brain, we have the filter of our perception, of our belief systems, our paradigms, and all that kind of stuff gets in the way, and that colors what we think, and so kind of gets us off center oftentimes based on our upbringing, versus what the pureness of the broader intelligence, which can see everything, knows. That's also why you get a pit in your stomach when something isn't feeling right to you. That's when you're thinking thoughts that are not in harmony with that same energy. You literally create a split inside yourself. So that's why that gut is so important, is because there's a nerve cluster there which is tapped into your infinite intelligence. So our job is to get out of our heads more often, become more present in the now moment, not in the past or the future, but right now, and then move that consciousness down into the feeling space of the heart and start listening. You can ask questions. You can ask for guidance and just ask what it is that you want to know. Be very specific. I want to know this. I want the answer. I want guidance. I want a sign. And then let it go. And the key to making this work is not being attached to the outcome or the kind of answer you're going to get, but simply rather to let go of the kind of answer that you think you need and be open to the answer that you really need to get, which is your infinite intelligence side. Your inner being always knows the best answer because it is you. It's just in a non-physical form, so it has a broader view. And if you're not really clear about what the answer is, you think you got some guidance, ask for more clarity. Get quiet, breathe it out, let go of your need to have the answer, and it'll keep getting clearer and clearer. So this is the practice of learning how to keep what you have by letting it go, by giving it away. It's getting into the flow, that trust that your needs are always being met. The universe is always supplying. You've got all of creation trying to help you help yourself have a fantastic life. And our only job is to get into the trusting space where we can then let that energy come through us and then get the direction moment by moment by moment. It's sort of like floating on a river, on the top of a river. You don't have to dive way down and then come back up again. You can float on the top and just let the river carry you. It really takes some practice of trust. So here's an exercise that we've done in the Billionaires Club group, and we'll probably do it again this Thursday for the Thursday monthly meeting of the Law of Attraction group that we host. So we like the idea of a touchstone list. And a touchstone is just basically in old days, 15th century, when they didn't know if gold or silver was real, it could be debased by mixing it with other metals. You could take a black piece of quartz and rub it against the gold or the silver, and you could determine the quality of that piece of gold or silver by the color of the streaks that came off as you rubbed it, because of the way of it interacted. So they called that a touchstone, because you're touching something to see if it's real or not. So this is your way of creating a list of things that you can look back on and say, wow, you know what, I had an experience that showed me that my inner guidance system was working, and now you build your own trust. So you keep track of that. So the idea is to create your own touchstone list and think of 5 times at least, and you can fill the whole list if you can, on a piece of paper, where you got an inspired impulse, like you felt it in your gut, you felt that excitement, you said, you know, I got to do that, and you took action because you got that guidance and you got the result, or an even better result than what you expected. You can also write down things where you felt that guidance, but then you went right back up into your head and second guessed yourself and talked yourself out of it, and then the thing would have worked out, you'll find out later maybe, if you had trusted your gut. So in either case, the idea is you're starting to pay more attention to the guidance system, which is coming through the solar plexus, through the gut, than you are in your head. And as you practice that and kind of close that loop, then all of a sudden stuff is going to start working out in miraculous ways. I tell people all the time, and even people who are with me are surprised that I get front row parking places 80% or more of the time. If I'm in an aligned state and I'm allowing the guidance to flow through me and not questioning it, I just know when to turn, I know when to accelerate, I know when to stop. All the cues are being sent to me moment by moment by moment, and I pull up. It happened again this when we went out to breakfast this Sunday. You know, just pulled up in the very front row spot. You know, parking lot had a lot of cars in it. Front row place is right there. Did it on Saturday as well. So it's one of those things where if I'm not thinking about it, the universe is always making things happen for me on my behalf or on our behalf. Always, always, always. So you just kind of learn to trust that. Look for the things where things are aligning and thank yourself. Say, you know, I did a good job here. I trusted myself. I didn't stress it. I let things work out for me. And you know what? You just start floating through life and things really work out. So your hallmark is to keep adding to your touchstone list as you notice more touchstone moments in your life. And then read the list whenever you start to doubt. Whenever you get in your head and things are too crazy there, just remember that your job is not to figure it out. It's to breathe it away. Move your consciousness down into the heart space, into the solar plexus, and open up and start trusting. Meditation is a great way to get there in a pinch. We practice it every day, and then see what kind of things occur in your life as a result. So best of luck with that technique, and let us know if we can help you out with it. So any questions? I think we'll open the floor up here before we get into the other part of the presentation here. Let me my thing here. I've got you guys all muted, so well, if you want to, you can unmute yourselves by *6 on the telephone, or you can, if you're on a computer screen, you can click your mute icon. It's a little microphone with the line through it.
I'll add a little comment.
Yeah, please do.
So the topic again, I keep what I have by giving it away. When I was listening to, I had this thought that, you know, we all have an inner being which has the answers, knows the answers of every question we have. So when you let go of the neediness, first you ask the question, then you let go of the neediness of gotta have it now, and guess what? Then your inner being that has all the answers lets you, more or less, it's keeping it. Now you get to receive it. It was just kind of a fun, different way to take a look at keeping that knowledge of what the solution is or where to find the next manifestation is always in us. But when we have that neediness, we can't see it. And so when we give it away, we let it go. Now we get to keep and go right back to the answer and the solution, which is always in us, in that solar plexus area.
It's an amazing system. I wish I had designed it, but I didn't. So, and I have no questions. You can raise your hand, or you can *6 and just take yourself off mute and go ahead and talk. Nobody?
Yeah.
There we go. Who's this? Yeah.
Liz.
Hey, Liz.
Hey, Liz.
Wow, I am amazing. It's the best day of my life.
All right.
Cool.
You know, as you were talking about letting it go, it was interesting. I was at a seminar this weekend, and they were talking about when you post on Facebook to really give part of yourself, not just, a picture and no story. And so I did the first one and then came back and he said, no, you know what? Talk into the phone. Give me, like he wanted more of my heart. And I'm like, so I talked into my phone. He says, okay, your homework is go write it down. And so I did. And then we came back and he says, okay, we're going to do a test. We're going to put another picture. You're going to go to the fountain. You're going to take a picture, put another picture on Facebook. And instead of what you put, just write it word for word what you said into the phone, into the microphone. I said, okay. And so, it's all about business. This is the coaching. It was, improving my business and how I do it. And I'm in network marketing. So anyway, home sale, whatever you want to call it. So I did that and I got many more responses. And right before I got on the phone, there's somebody that I'm not even sure who they are. They're a friend of mine on Facebook, but they're a friend through another friend. So I have to call her and call my friend that I know very well and find out who this person really is. But I just got a message and she said, I want to join your business. Me and my husband, we want to do this. And she goes, and by the way, what do you do? And the post had, how cool. And the post has nothing to do with business. Wow. It has to do with an experience I had at the Vatican.
Wow. Nice job.
So when you, is that cool? So I'm finding it on a different level when I give my heart. When I get into service, I get the service part. It was like a saying this weekend is, when you're stressed or you're worried, then get into service because you're up in your head, you're thinking about you're not flowing. So right. I thought it was interesting that I gave my heart and I received back in a very unexpected way that had nothing to do with the post on Facebook.
Yes. Right. And that's the brilliance of it. The universe knew. It knows what'll light you up. Yeah.
And I had fun doing it.
What did you like about it? I'm just curious.
I liked when the first post that I put, I had to think about it. You know what I mean? It wasn't coming like deep from within where it made me cry. Okay. And it was just, okay, so it was a picture of a fountain and I had when I saw the fountain, it just kind of reminded me of when I walked into the Vatican and I saw Mary holding her son, Jesus. Big, huge life form. And it was just, oh my gosh, his broken body and how she must have felt. Oh. It was overwhelmed me. It was like, it's so powerful. And so he read the first little thing I put up there. And then he said, what did it make you feel like? What about it? You know, I mean, he just pulled it out of me, and then he pulled out more. And it was just, when I read it, and then we did this on stage, and when I read it, I mean, I'm crying.
Wow. Wow.
Just being so authentic, you know what I mean? Just being
There's
totally
the word.
you. In the moment, you're protected.
Yes.
Authentic. It's
Authentic.
not, it's something that can be learned. It's not necessarily a natural talent.
Well, you certainly have it naturally.
But you know what, though, Kevin? I give a lot to people, and I help them, and I listen, and I inspire people, and I hear what they're saying. You know what I mean? Like coaching kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't always, Kevin, give that extra piece in my heart up. You know, I'm a lot more protected that way. I'm a lot more protected. I protect that space. Like, I don't know what's going to happen to it, right? I mean, nothing's going to happen. Somebody could think I'm silly or I'm over emotional, or I don't, but I don't know why. It was a fear that I couldn't share my gut. You know what I mean?
And you did it, though.
And I did. And I did it, and I read it to, 350 people that I don't even know.
There you go.
Right?
Awesome job, man.
Way to go.
Well, what a great story. And so you opened up, you trusted yourself in spite of a little nervousness, and not only did you do it, proved it to yourself that nothing happened in front of 350 people, but you got some potential business out of it without even trying. Beautiful.
Yeah, and if it goes anywhere, if it actually happens, I don't know. But it was just so interesting. It was a test. And what was even better, at the moment, what manifested was while I was sitting on getting one of the people to take a picture of me, these three wonderful women came up, and I was telling what I was doing. They knew, and I said, you know what, Erica, could you do a live Facebook, and just tell people about me? So she goes, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. And she's 21. So she had a fear about getting out. So that was in the class before. And so I was like, no, just do this. Like, we're having a good time. She goes, oh my God, I can't. And I said, you don't even know my people. You could be the owner of my company, or you could be the owner of this hotel. You could be a rock star movie star. We don't know.
Right.
Oh my gosh, you're right. They don't know me. She left the most beautiful, beautiful video on my Facebook page.
Yeah, we saw it. We saw it. It was really amazing. She was such a natural at it.
Isn't that fabulous? And it was to get her out of her comfort zone and her fear. There was no way you thought she was fearful.
No, but you did it, Liz. You reassured her that everything's going to be fine. Just talk like we're having fun, which you were. And then she got into her heart space and easily said what she was feeling. It was great.
Nice job, Liz.
So that was the backstory to that. You know what I mean? That I then gave of my heart to her to help her. She could have said, oh, we're having a great time. I'm in my bathing suit. Liz forgot her suit. She's not swimming. She could have done anything. And ended up leaving me just a beautiful message to everybody.
Yes.
How much she loves me and how terrific I am. Right?
Best of all, yeah. Thanks for sharing that story, Liz. Very powerful stuff.
Absolutely.
Perfect demonstration. Yes. Perfect. Anyone else have a share, a question, something you want to talk about around this idea of flow and giving in order to receive before we move on? Or if you got something you want to jump right into coaching with right now, you got a question that's off topic, that's okay. This is an open forum, what we're doing here.
One thing about giving and receiving, you have to give to receive. But one of the things I learned kind of the hard way in my life is I was a big giver. I gave to everyone, give, but I didn't stop and allow myself to receive. I didn't ask for help. I did everything myself. So it is a constant flowing back and forth, giving and receiving. It all works in a circle.
It's one of the harder things I've discovered is that also the receiving element. I've been called out on it by several coaches that I could have more business if I just learned to receive the business, just be open to that. And so I've got my own stuff that I got to work on sometimes. But that's what we're here for, is the growth. We're not going to get it perfect.
That's for
we're
sure.
going to get it done. Any questions, comments? Unmute yourself with *6 if you're on the phone, or you can raise your hand if you're on the computer. And if not, then we'll go on to part 2 here. That doesn't look like it. All right, so let's go on to part 2 then. So we're going to touch a little bit on the election results, because I know there's negative energy in some people around this, and it's understandable. Certainly, I think everyone had their opinion as to what the right candidates were. Oops. The right candidate that they wanted chosen, and then if you're on the side that didn't get yours, then there was get that negative energy going, and or even if the guy you wanted, if you wanted Trump to be in there, but still you don't totally align with his values. He certainly has been pretty outlandish in some of the things he said, insulting and so forth, and nobody likes that part. So in either case, there's an out of alignment situation. And in either case, you're giving your power away by being in misalignment, by being out of alignment. And that's what we want to talk about a little bit today. Get your power back here. So a few points that just popped into my head, and I sent an email out to our meetup group. We had about 1,400 members on the day of the election to help soften them a bit so they can make a best decision for themselves. We don't have any political opinion, because to us politics doesn't matter at all to what comes into our lives. This is what we want to share here. And I also posted on Facebook, but I'll give you a few points here that might be worth considering. So first of all, Trump won not because there was something going wrong with the Electoral College. That was all participation. I mean, that was all part of the cooperation, what we call the cooperative components. But it was because he had the most energy focused on him. Because the universe doesn't discern about wanted and unwanted energy. It only discerns about focus, about attention. So the people who were pushing against Trump were the ones who helped him get elected. And that may not make you feel very good, and it's okay, because he needed to be elected because there needs to be massive shakeup in our energy in this country, and really in the world. But that was the bigger reason. And it may not be clear right now, but it's become clear to us what the need is. So Trump, in this case, is actually a manifestation of the population. So everything is a manifestation. Okay, everything is a manifestation of our focus, and the manifestations for the collective consciousness are even more intense and even larger, but he is a manifestation of the focus of the population, the negative energy that we have, mostly. So another interesting point about this is that whatever we don't like in any other person, and that could be somebody down the street, it could be the candidates or anybody in between, is that whatever that is that we don't like in the other person has to be vibrationally active or present in us. That's a really hard one to get. Nobody likes to hear that one at first, because you can only see through the lens of your own perception, your own belief system. So there's millions of things coming at us all the time. If you look around, even the room you're in, you can see how many things there are, but you're not focused on them. That's because you have a filtering mechanism. Your attention is filtered. So when something lights up, whether it's something wanted or unwanted to us in another person, that means there's a resonance within us. That doesn't mean that if he's a xenophobic person, that you're xenophobic, but xenophobia is fear-based. It's a low vibration down at the bottom of the emotional scale. It simply means that there's a similar vibration inside you that maybe you haven't addressed, or maybe you know about it. In either case, it has to be present in that moment, or it would not resonate in you. It's sort of like a tuning fork. If you ever had a tuning fork, or even an instrument with a stringed instrument that's near another instrument, and then that other instrument plays a note, and then the stringed instrument or the tuning fork starts to vibrate at that time. You're not even touching it, but it starts to vibrate because there's a resonance that occurs. When one thing plucks a sound and emanates a vibration, then the things around it that have a matching vibration all start to vibrate as well. And that's what's happening here. So it's good news. It may not feel like good news that you got it, but we like to say you spot it, you got it. So if you spot it in somebody else, you got it inside of you. So it's wonderful feedback, even if it doesn't quite feel that way, because it just means that there's something that you can clean up inside yourself so you no longer attract it to you. Another thing that might help you feel better about the situation is that there are a number of intuitives now. We tap into a lot of different people who have broader connections. They have their channels or mediums, psychic abilities, intuitives who can pick up energy. And the consensus is that Trump isn't actually going to finish the term because his goal was more about winning and not leading the country. And of course, he's kind of a dictator. Most business owners are by necessity, and in a executive, legislative, and judicial-based country, he's going to have a hard time and have a lot of frustration getting what he wants done. And there's some other reasons that we can't really go into right now, but where that's likely. Now, if that happens, there's a possibility of there's going to be a breakdown of the government system. It's already pretty unstable financially and in other ways. And a little revolution is, as Captain Ramius of The Hunt for Red October said, a little revolution is a good thing now and again, because we get very clingy to the way things are. And when we expand, us being clinging to things the way they are or were, and yet all of us around us is expanding, there's a tension that builds up. And eventually we have to let go because it breaks free. The energy is too strong moving forward. In this universe, this planet is expanding very rapidly. There's a huge amount of energy shift going on, huge awarenesses about self-empowerment going on. People are starting to realize that there's a law of attraction and that they're not just a body with a brain. There are conscious beings, and the consciousness is flowing into the bodies, but the consciousness lives on, and it's all supposed to feel good, and we're supposed to get everything we want because the universe expands to meet our needs. But the government and a lot of the population still believe that the government is their mom and dad. Their government is where their resources should come from. Their government is their protective system. And so with that belief system, and yet dysfunctional people in office, and now we're following dysfunctional people knowingly, and we get even farther out of alignment. We can't stay out of alignment forever. Like I said, the other part of us is expanding too rapidly. The tension gets too great. At some point, things have to break down. Or the good news is that people like you guys on the phone here and on the web, you know this, how this works, and so you can catch your fears and all this clinging that you might have to somebody else fixing the problem and start to let it go now before the breakdown occurs. And so by moving in the forward direction, now we start to reclaim the power. We start to do things like what we were talking about earlier, getting in the flow and using touchstone lists and other things to start to get the energy to flow back through us so that we start to prove the power to ourselves instead of giving it away. There's a lot that's going to change in the upcoming years. This 2017 promises to be one of the most interesting years on record. Nobody can predict the future, but with this kind of shakeup, with an outsider coming in as the president who's not part of the system, or that system anyway, a lot of breakdown is going to happen. There's going to be a lot of conflict. So you really owe it to yourself right now to start working on yourselves, start finding that alignment, start meditating more often. I'm doing the Kyle Cease 100-day meditation challenge, and if that resonates for you, it's been fantastic for me. I'm only on day 11. I think Suzanne's starting it as well. Let's go to KyleCease.com, KyleCease.com, I think. And he's a really cool guy, very funny guy who teaches this alignment stuff, but in a funny way. Do something to start taking care of yourself and getting your power back, and stop holding other people accountable for how you feel. Start to let go of the blame. Start to let go of any of the energy that's sucking your alignment away. Come to the Billionaires Club if you're in the area. We'll be meeting this Thursday evening starting at 6:30, and we'll go into this in more detail. Find yourself a coach. Find yourself classes on Law of Attraction. There's tons of stuff on YouTube. Whatever you can do to regain that alignment and that sense of self-empowerment, because you are the creator of your own reality. The reality is simply waves of energy that have created particles, which then give the illusion of a physical reality, but we are creating that reality through our focused, our conscious thought. So this is the best time to do things for yourself. So that's kind of my overview in a nutshell of why Trump is a good thing, whether you like him or not, because he's forcing us to face our fears, forcing us to face the reality we had to face sooner or later anyway, and forcing us to get back in alignment so we can create the great lives that we wanted to create anyway. Suzanne, anything you want to comment on with that?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Yeah, it's funny. I had on Tuesday morning, I had a really intense impulse. That's that gut feeling that I had to write this email out to our members of the Billionaires Club. There was just this knowing that there are people out there who really needed to hear this message. And I love being the channel for other people's questions. I love co-creating, and Suzanne does too. And this is part of the opening up process to that broader guidance. And part of it is that I get to do what I love, which is bringing forth this knowledge and soothing and coaching to help people find their own way. And it comes through when somebody else needs it. So we're all looking for answers to our questions. Well, the universe always provides, so it provides me then as a channel, as an answer to the people who are asking in that specific situation. We're just the path of least resistance for our own connection to each other. And I got a lot of great responses. And people said, oh my God, I'm so glad that you told me, you reminded me how the law of attraction works. Even people who've known it for years, the selection has really made them forget that they're the ones creating their own reality. And I put it out on Facebook because, again, more impulses. I got a whole bunch of responses there. And again, and that's because there are people out there looking to be soothed, to feel better about what looks like a potential catastrophe to a lot of people. You are the creator of your own reality. So
I think one thing I always knew in my heart, no matter who won the election, was as I stay in alignment and confident, knowing everything's going to work out. I don't have to know how. I've gone through it enough times since we've been introduced to law of attraction, not to worry about how it's ever going to work out, but just have that faith and that knowing and keeping myself in alignment, and it will work out without even knowing how. So whoever got elected, that always was a thing in the back of my mind. It was all going to be fine.
Yep. Things are always working out for us, as we like to say over and over again. So we'd love to hear from you guys. Let's get some participation here. We could talk all night, but this is a group forum, and your opinions, whether you agree or not, or maybe you want to add something to it, we'd love to hear from you. There's no wrong answers here. Hit *6 on your phone if you want to unmute yourself, or if you're on the computer, you can just unmute your microphone and go ahead and talk. What do you guys think about all this stuff? Go ahead and jump in. Yeah, drink lots of water too, by the way. Another thing you can do for yourself. Nobody has an opinion? Or do we put you all to sleep with that little rant?
It's possible.
I got a lot of people on the call tonight. So there are some things, while I'm waiting for somebody to come on the line here, that you can do to help you through the expansion process. And these apply whether or not it's we're talking about government or anything else about taking care of yourself. I think you came online here. Did you have something to say?
Yeah. Well, I was down in Florida for the election and did my ballot ahead of time, and then watched the craziness of the TV and everyone, back and forth. And I just know that things are always working out for me. I mean, I'm not in politics. It wouldn't matter, if we're really talking about you and your inner being, or you and God, which is for me. But if you're really talking about that, then we could be planted anywhere and thrive.
That's right.
So the
Nice.
the fear, I don't really care for the war zones that's going on right now, with what's happening with that. But they're really upset, obviously, or whatever they're doing, and they have that right. I love that we can vote. I mean, it's just shifting my perspective. That helps me personally. But I'm working on me. I got enough to deal with just working on me, let alone changing our government.
Good point. Well, and you touched on one of the important points here is the idea of appreciation. Right? That's at the top of the emotional scale. And so by whatever it takes to find appreciation in the system, the fact that we can vote, there are many places that they don't allow people to vote. It's a dictatorship. So at least we have that opportunity in our country. Very good point.
I just think the fear, I have a friend that was so afraid after Trump got in. I mean, just fearful. Well, she ended up being, bullied. Well, get rid of the fear.
Yeah.
I mean, it was ludicrous to me that you would be bullied by somebody that didn't vote your way. I don't even get that. But it's so interesting that what you think about, you bring about, right?
Yeah.
And I just want to say one thing. I really appreciate you guys giving of your time and yourself and your heart.
Thank you.
To do this webinar. I mean, for free. But I'm always in for free coaching. Dang.
We appreciate
it. Really?
Yeah.
So I want to encourage everybody to take advantage of this. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. Otherwise, I don't have a problem taking up the hour. But I'll get on right
now. Thank you, Liz.
Yeah.
So call on me anytime.
Okay. I appreciate you. Thanks. Yeah, Liz is one of a kind. She really understands law of attraction as much as anybody I think we've ever met. And she pointed out exactly, you come back to yourself, you come back to source, you come back to your own focus. And this is going to be the time when the small amounts of resistance that we still have, the small amounts of fear and anxiety, blame, a lot of blame going on these days, finger pointing, those are all at the bottom of the emotional scale. And if you have those in you, they're going to be reflected back. So if you're getting bullied, if you're having people post on your Facebook page, if you're having any kind of attacks, those are going to become amplified more and more now because the energy is moving quickly. And so everything is going to look larger. And even if you're doing this work where you're getting more acclimated to the higher vibrational frequencies, you're getting more used to feeling good, then what happens is, and we just heard a great analogy recently, when you get more aligned on a consistent basis, the things which are not in alignment with that energy still within you now have to come up as well to your awareness so that they can be recognized and released. And so the bad stuff that's still inside of us tends to get triggered in the process of releasing. That goes away as it comes up, but it still comes up. And so you've got to be really even more diligent about not getting sucked into negative conversations, not getting sucked into a disagreement about an opinion. You're never wrong about your opinion. Your opinion's always right, so no need to defend it. Just be it and be okay with it and let other people have their opinions because their opinions cannot affect us. I think that's one of the reasons we argue with people a lot is because we feel like we need other people to buy into our opinions so that we won't get hurt. Because if they disagree, maybe they could do something to hurt us, or maybe there's a need to be right. I grew up with that. I had a strong need to be right because there was so much pain in not being right in my upbringing. And so let people be right. Let people have their own opinions, because they cannot hurt us unless we're in vibrational harmony with it long enough to start attracting that negativity, which is that energy which is going on. It's just not actually possible. So this is a good time to start practicing what you guys all know here about Law of Attraction. But I'm going to give you a few extra little tips here, and then we'll open it up again here for you guys if anybody else wants to talk. Like Liz said, we're doing this session for free because we want to get the word out about Law of Attraction, and we want to help you guys get better at taking care of yourselves. So the obvious first one is to learn to meditate daily. That goes without saying. Learn how to quiet your mind. There's a million programs on YouTube. I'm doing the Kyle Cease one, but Deepak Chopra, Oprah Winfrey, Wayne Dyer, everybody's got a meditation thing. We love the one from Jerry and Esther Hicks and Abraham. That's a really good one. So learn how to meditate and do it every day. Practice deep breathing. Breathe from the belly. Blow it out slowly. If you do that in any stressful situation, if you can count to 60, you can do it for 1 minute of deep breathing and not being distracted, you will come back to center every time. Because the breath is what brings in source energy. You have an energy field around you of source energy. The breath is what brings it into the body. It not only oxygenates your brain, allows you to think better, oxygenates your body so your body functions better, but it brings in that consciousness at the same time and makes it run through your body. So breath is the number one thing to do, and you can do it with meditation. The next thing is to drink a lot of water. You can see me, I'm scarfing these down here. I go through 8 or 10 of these 16-ounce glasses every single day. But the water is what actually conducts the energy inside the body. We put a little bit of high-quality sea salt in because that actually conducts the energy better, helps the cells catalyze it. Moving your body in any way you can, 30 minutes a day. Doesn't have to be strenuous exercise, just get up and move around. The lymph system needs it. That's the pump, is movement. It doesn't have its own pump. And engage in creative play. That's really important, not one that I do very well myself, but I'm practicing. I play the drums. I've got an electronic drum set, which I'm getting back into being creative without expectation. If you're an artist, even if you're not, create without expectation. Just design something that comes right into your brain without anybody else seeing it. Just do it for the creative play, because that creative play is what opens up that source channel. So that's what this is all about, reconnecting. And then we'd like to say check in with yourself regularly. Like once a day is not good enough anymore. Like if you meditate once a day for 15 minutes, that's not enough. You got to start checking in regularly, like every hour. Put a timer on your phone. Start checking in. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Are you still in your head right now? Are you feeling fear? If so, stop, breathe it out, move out of your head, back into your body, back into your heart center, and start getting the messages from there. Just doing that several times a day, it's actually an exponential change, has been my experience. And then the last little thing is when you're stressed, think about something that makes you smile. That's when we just heard from Wendy Kennedy, who channels the Pleiadians. Really powerful stuff from her, by the way, Wendy Kennedy. So just move. What you're doing is you're thinking about something like puppies, or kittens. There's just nothing about those that doesn't make you smile. And the minute you smile, you've moved from your head into your heart space. That's how quick it can be. So have a list of things or pictures or whatever that can just bring a smile to your face quickly, and everything else will get yourself back centered quickly, and you'll be back in that heart space. So that's kind of the list I had. Anybody want to jump in here? I see somebody's unmuted. Go ahead. I see somebody's unmuted, but I don't hear you talking.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yeah, I can hear you now. Who is this?
This is Nancy.
Hey, Nancy.
Nancy.
How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. So I was very shocked by the election results, but I do think that people are going to become more aware of their lives and the lives around them. And people like my daughter who's 18 who didn't bother to register, she's had a pretty nice life. She hasn't had any discrimination. She hasn't had much conflict. And I think this is going to wake the young people up and realize you have the right to vote and you need to get out there and do it. I think it's a wake-up call that we all needed. So I'm not fearful. He's going to get rid of Obamacare. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. Well, he's not all that powerful.
There you go.
And it takes a long time to get anything done. And I have heard over and over that he will not finish the term. Because he was focused on winning, as you said.
Yeah.
So
and even if he does.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So I'm just taking a wait and see approach. I'm not watching the television. It makes me cry when I see what's going on in the world. And I don't want to cry. So I'm just not watching it. And my sister calls that burying my head in the sand. Well, okay. She is entitled to her opinion, but spouting off on Facebook about it isn't going to help either.
Well, it actually then causes more attraction of it. So very smart.
That's exactly it. She doesn't understand that.
No.
Yeah, she's drawing more to it.
Well, and that's why she's lucky to have you in her life. Even if she doesn't understand it right now, she is witnessing you taking charge of your life as you do. And people want that. They're just sometimes afraid to ask for it, or maybe there's pride involved, or who knows what the reasons are. So the best that we can do, and I know you're doing this because you and I know each other, is be it and not judge others for not being it, getting there as fast as we're there. And that I think that's why we're all here. You, me, Suzanne, everybody on the call, is to learn how to be this so that we can show it, demonstrate it to other people, and hopefully they'll find it. You're doing that.
I'm doing that, yes. And my daughters are seeing it. They're figuring it out.
Yeah, and maybe
they call me and say, "What is Aunt Lisa doing? Why is she posting all that hateful stuff?" Just don't read it.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, you bring up a really good point, Nancy, about things like, not watching the news or being, informed. You can be informed without being inundated. And one of the things is that this is a really important point. I'm really glad you brought it up. We think that, okay, we should keep up on the news. We should turn on the TV or listen to the radio and the news stations. I used to listen every day many years ago. And the thing about the news is that it is essentially a huge magnifying glass on tiny areas of the world. And so it takes these little tiny areas which there's conflict in it, and it brings them front and center and blows them way up and gives the whole hour program or 15 minutes of an hour program to this one little tiny conflict and amplifies it way, way out of proportion. The amount of good that's going on in this world is massive. The amount of positive energy on this planet is massive compared to the amount of negativity that's going on. But the news is this huge amplifier of it. And we, not necessarily us here on the call, but we, the population, created the news. It's a reflection of our fearful state of mind. It's a manifestation. So thank you for bringing that up. I got to say that as a result.
You're welcome. Mass media creates mass hysteria.
Oh, I love it. there you go.
Yeah.
So let's keep our heads in the sand. Please.
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Thanks for sharing, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Always powerful stuff. Anyone else? We got about 5 minutes left on the call. If anybody else has something they want to say, we can keep talking to the end of time, but this is your time as much as ours. Closing. Anybody have a closing comment they want to share? No, quiet out there. Almost too quiet.
Hello.
Hello, who's there? I heard two voices. Liz, Nancy?
This is Nancy again, but
Yeah,
I don't, does somebody else want to speak?
Yeah, go ahead, Nancy. What did you have to say?
Well, I started doing the automatic writing that we did in your class last Sunday. I'm doing it every day.
Ah,
Cool.
how's that going?
Because and I want to be a writer. And so many things are becoming clear in my mind as I'm doing this writing. I'm setting the timer for 15 minutes, lighting a candle, putting on some meditation music, and just writing. And so much is coming up and out of my subconscious. It's been a really great exercise. I'm going to continue doing it.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. Good for you.
Yeah, wonderful.
So,
yeah, you're welcome.
Oh my gosh. Talk about me. Oh my gosh. Talk about me and Nancy manifesting the same thing. We literally co-created over the phone. How cool is that? Because I was going to tell you, I just learned, and I'm doing it every morning, I just learned creative writing.
Ah.
How cool.
wow.
That's very cool. Law of attraction working.
Well, you want to take
right?
it to
It's just crazy.
yeah, well, it's law of attraction, as we say. Yeah. Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I wrote up a few things ahead of time for the morning so that when I look at it, it's a question. So when I look at it, it's like a fill in the blank, and that's how I was taught. And you just start writing. And whatever pours out, you just don't take your pen away from the paper. And so I wrote one is what if. That's my tomorrow thing. Like, what if, I won $1 million? What if I won the lottery? Who knows where I'm going to go? But yeah, that's so great, Nancy. You rock.
Well, I got to share.
Thank you.
Yes, I got to share another little part of that, and then we'll start our wrap up. We've been doing it. I learned it a while back, and I've done it on and off, and I'm now getting back into it again. Our business coach that we hired a few months ago she's highly intuitive, highly successful too. And we're hoping to learn a lot from her. She does a number of calls during the month, and the call we were on today. She took us through the same process.
Yep.
So we're co-creating.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Good for you, Nancy, for bringing it up, because we were all on that frequency.
Yeah, love how it works. So for everybody on the call, just a quick synopsis of what that is so we don't leave you hanging, and then we'll wrap it up here for the evening. Automatic writing or freeform writing is what you do is you do a little meditation to quiet your mind, some breathing, whatever you can to kind of clear out the noise, and then put a timer on your phone or someplace for 15 minutes. And then you get a pad of paper, and we were actually told today don't even use lined paper, use blank paper if you can, because there's even less
restrictions.
Yeah, you don't have that need to stay on the lines or anything, and you just start writing. Whatever thoughts are rattling around in your brain, and you start off with I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, I don't want to be writing right now. Whatever is coming out of your mind, and you don't stop. The job is to not stop the process of writing, no matter what's coming out. Even if you blank, just write, I have nothing, whatever. And you do that for 15 straight minutes. And the magic is that at first you'll have noise and you'll just have gibberish. But at least what happens for me, and I've heard it from other people now, is you'll start to, as Nancy said, all of a sudden stuff starts to come out. The negative stuff will flow out first because that's what's prevalent. But then it doesn't take very long before you'll start to actually get divine inspiration. You'll start to get that inner being talking to you. I find that I actually go into question and answer, and I'm not even sure which one of me is asking the question and providing the answer, but I'll just all of a sudden I'll ask a question about how do I do this, and then I'll get some answer, and I'll say, well, how do I do that, and then I'll get another answer, and by the 15 minutes time the 15 minutes are up, I often have a handful of things of new inspirations that I didn't have before. So it's another method, and writing is really powerful. It's better than typing on the computer because there's more of a visceral connection. You're more concentrating on it. That opens up that channel to that guidance that we've been talking about for the whole call here. So we did it in a workshop called the Emerging Intuitive on Sunday. We tested out with just a few people over to see how it would work, and I think we're going to do it a lot more because it was very powerful for everybody who was there. So that's automatic writing or freeform writing. It's kind of the same thing. All right, guys. Well, it's the bottom of the hour here, so I think we're going to start our wrap up. Let's see. So we do have the meetup group here on this Thursday, and we're going to cover the same subject. I keep what I have by giving it away. We'll go into more in depth. It's an hour and a half, so a lot of powerful energy in that room. So if you guys haven't been to a Billionaires Club meetup and you happen to be in the Detroit area and can join us Thursday evening at 6:30 from 6:30 to 8, we would love to have you. You can email us for more information or just look for the Billionaires Club on meetup.com. This recording will be up on YouTube in a few days, and we'll get that edited so you can play it back if you'd like. Let's see, the next call, we're going to do the next call in December, unless we get a whole lot of people asking us to do it before then. So it'll be December 12th. We'll advertise it, of course, put it on our Facebook page and send out the announcement email. If you're not on our email list, let us know and we'll be happy to add you. And the subject will be putting the happy back into your holidays. And find ways to get really happy, fun attitude in the holidays in spite of relationship problems, family, money, and all that kind of stuff. Because you can do that. If you want to learn more about us, the workshops that we do, the coaching programs and so forth, just go to personalsuccessprograms.com. You can also find us on Facebook. And if you like the call tonight, please share it with your friends and like our Facebook page. We would really appreciate it. So thanks, everybody, for joining us on this Law of Attraction Roundtable call, and have a fantastic week and/or month.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you more.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.